Lizzie has told you, then, of our wretched condition pertaining to our present guest. Mrs. Bennet prescribes plenty of advantageous marriage. It is a very sensible remedy, and it makes me feel like a whoremonger.
It's not whoremongering to bring together people who are in love.
To marry for money is merely despicable. To marry for beauty, that is a great foolishness. But my wife was a great beauty.
Let your daughters marry for love, Mr. Bennet, and everything else will come right. Everything. Just please don't allow any of them to marry Mr. Collins.
Inasmuch as it is in my power to allow anything in this family, I shall strive to that end. Not even the silliest of my daughters deserves the Promethean misery of marriage to Collins.
Mr. Collins, such a pretty day. You find me picking roses.
Every rose would be this little hand if it only could.
Sir, you kiss my glove.
I would kiss your every garment.
Charlotte, Miss Lucas. We need to talk. You and I got off on the wrong foot. You caught me out about the pig, and it made you think I'm a liar. But I did not lie to you about Elizabeth. I don't know her the way that you know her, but I know her very well. And she loves you, Charlotte. You are her dearest, dearest friend.
This is all of a piece. I am plain and rebarbative and 27 years old. And I am lonely and...
Listen, there is someone here who's prepared to take you on. I mean, dying to meet you. Now move. Oh, no. Mr. Collins!
Miss Price.
You're going to ruin those trousers.
Under the circumstances, it is a possibility a man must face.
I fear Miss Price will intrude.
That's exactly what we do. Look, Mr. Collins, I can't help noticing that you're about to ask Miss Bennet here to marry you. That would be a really bad mistake, because for the sake of her family, she'd feel obliged to say yes, and she's not the right person for you. She just isn't. There is someone else here who could give you love like no other. Jane.
You bring Miss Lucas to lend you the courage to tell me this.
I brought her because... No. What? No, the person I'm talking about...
Lady Catherine urged me to seek out spirit. Seek out spirit, Mr. Collins, she cried.
The person I'm talking about is Charlotte Lucas.
But she is not the person of whom I speak. Miss Price.
I wish you to instruct Miss Price to quit this house. At once, sir. If you do not oblige me in this matter, sir, I believe I shall scream.
I believe you shall. Allow me to distract you with an observation. Miss Price just announced her engagement to Mr. Collins. There must be a reason for this. Though I confess
The reason is to spit on the charity of this deluded family.
Do you not think, Mrs. Bennet, it might be in the interests of this deluded family to treat kindly the future Mrs. Collins? Our survival, as you so assiduously remind me, my dear, at frequent intervals, depends on Mr. Collins thinking of us with affection.
I'm not really going to have to marry Collins, am I? Oh, God, I am.
I'm bewitched. I no longer have possession of my own soul. You must find that a nuisance. It's not a nuisance, Darcy. It's a passion. It consumes me.
Yes. You must permit me to remind you, Charles, that yesterday your soul had passed quite fully into the possession of Miss Price.
I was mistook. Lord, that was a fancy.
Today your consumption by passion is the privilege of Miss Bennet. Charles, regard me. Come to me in a year's time and protest your love for this Bennet. Then shall I hear you.
Mr. Bingley, Mr. Darcy.
All
a rather grisly relation, Mr. Collins, is staying with us. And, well, don't say I said that. You won't say I said that, will you? Well, he's only been here one night, and he's proposed to Miss Price.
Good Lord.
Isn't it immense?
Colossal. Has she accepted him?
They are to be married within the fortnight.
Come in, gentlemen, and view this Collins for yourself.
Oh, do say you shall.
We shall.
Hurrah! We shall have cake.
Are women not curious, Darcy? And a girl as decorative as Miss Price, who is not demonstratively occupied with husband hunting, should agree to marry this Collins. Altogether a rum business.
It is composed of egregiously rum ingredients. So, let us view the sordid world of the Bennets.
Bingley, if you don't wake up and propose to Jane, and I end up married to Collins, I shall have to invent mains electricity and kill myself.
Well, isn't this nice? So, who here lacks acquaintance? Mr. Bingley. Let me present Mr. Collins. And you, sir, are...
Papa, this is our saviour, Captain Wickham.
Very well, our saviour, Captain Wickham. This gentleman is Mr. Darcy.
Mr. Bennet, may I have your permission to play the piano?
At this hour? What would Lady Catherine say, Mr. Collins?
Her ladyship is possessed of impeccable manners. She will merely pretend not to notice.
Do it, Mary.
Captain Wickham. I, at least.
I understand we must congratulate you, Miss Price.
Don't worry about me. All that matters is that Jane remains free for Bingley.
But I must worry about you, Miss Price.
And you, Mr.
How will you amuse yourself in the cottage on the boundary wall of my aunt's estate in the country? Will you not miss the society and cultural excitements of London?
Well, I intend to keep in touch.
Miss Price, might you and I speak together for a moment?
By all means.
In this day and age,
Jane.
Do not presume to address me by my Christian name, Miss Price. I may have few possessions to dispose as I please, but that is one of them. You led me to suppose that Mr. Bingley loved me. He does not. Mr. Collins was poised to make me an offer that would save my father, and you...
I know exactly how it looks, but believe me, that isn't how it is.
Lady Ambrosia looks, sounds, and smells like a pig. When the time comes, I dare say she shall taste like a pig. I call her a pig.
My dear, you are not chatty.
No.
The company of the Bennets is indeed demeaning, but when we are conjoined in matrimony, with my exalted patronage and your income, we can turn our face toward more distinguished liaison.
I confess it, Miss Price. You fascinate me. I think you've endured great hardship in your life. As have I.
Oh, God. Come on, then, get it over with. Give me the shtick. Tell me all about Darcy robbing you of what was rightfully yours.
So you have heard about this?
I read about it. Take my tip, Wickham. Don't waste your time with this lot, especially Lydia, because I'm watching you. Every time you try to pull a stroke, I will be right behind you with a big neon sign saying, "Don't trust this guy."
What is neon?
Wait and see.
Miss Price, I fear that your life with Mr. Collins may be short of gaiety. And if you find yourself nonplussed by the anticipated pleasures of married life, call upon me, and I shall redress the deficit.
Full marks for trying, George, but I wouldn't have my deficit redressed by you if you were the last man on earth.
Your aunt would approve. Oh, such a great happiness.
Ladies.
Ah, you're
You too. Stick with the plan.
Bingley.
Mr. Bingley, will you take a turn with me around the garden? I find myself fantastically interested to see a vole. Miss Bennet, Mr. Bingley and I are going to look for voles. Join us. Who knows what we might discover?
Do say you will, Miss Bennet. I myself cannot navigate. Without guidance, I might easily find myself in the duck pond.
Right. You go that way, I'll go this. Sing out if you find anything.
What would you have me sing, Miss Price? For I have found something of great interest.
What?
You. You are not what you seem.
I can't disagree with that. Look, I know you have a very poor opinion of me. That's the way you are at the moment, and that's okay. But one day, Mr. Darcy, you will thank me.
In the meantime, Miss Price, you must content yourself with a warning. If you wound Bingley, you will find my displeasure baleful and entirely unrelenting. For my...
Good opinion once lost is lost forever. Yes, I know.
I have an announcement to make. I'm persuaded by the wisdom of Miss Bryce's advice, and I am resolved to give a ball at Netherfield.
Okay, I've cleaned my teeth with chalk, shaved my legs with some sort of potato peeler. Oh, Lizzie, where are you? I cannot face Darcy without backup.
Miss Price, might I just trifle with your little cylinder?
You could park a bloody jumbo. I mean, it's an impressive facade.
Wait till you behold the clasping buttresses of Lady Catherine de Bourgh.
I'll bet her buttresses are pretty hardcore.
Miss Amanda Dawn Price, Mr. William Zeal of the Lord Collins.
Zeal of the Lord?
My parents were most devout. Ah, see, the others are here before us.
I do so like this dance, Mr. Bingley. It is so delicate.
Exceedingly delicate. Also, it affords one the chance to talk.
Mr. Bingley, it is clear that he's...
For a bishopric cannot marry the daughter of a fishmonger. It will not do.
What?
I withdraw my offer of marriage.
A fishmonger? Who told you that?
It is common knowledge.
You little tinker.
Miss Price, now that our formal relations are at an end,
Might I offer you a morsel of guidance?
If you think that's wise.
it is unseemly for you to pursue the society of persons like Mr. Darcy. No, I'm not candid. It was unseemly when you misthought a lady. Now that you are disclosed as an impostor, it is a towering impertinence. To be direct, I find is best.
Me too.
I do believe Miss Price just assaulted Mr. Collins.
What?
Is this an extra entertainment we have laid on?
Miss Price.
Still here?
Indeed. An oversight you are now at liberty to correct.
This is the ball at Netherfield. Elizabeth's not here. You're throwing me out for kneeing Collins in the balls. It isn't quite how I imagined it.
I suppose he gets used to it. God. Having fleets of cherubim singing hosannas to him for all eternity. I shouldn't care for it. How was the dancing? Was it gruesome?
You have more use to this family than all your sisters together. For you are elegant and kindly and obedient. And in the morning you shall come prettily to breakfast and sit beside Mr. Collins, that he may see this lovely, lovely long neck.
Miss Bennet, good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Collins.
What a bloody mess.
On the whole, Miss Price, I find myself decided as to my future. I am for Africa.
Africa? Will that be safe?
I doubt it. I mean to devote myself there as a missionary. I cannot say Lizzie has behaved well. Jane smiles and laughs, but she is wounded that her sister is not come to see her wed.
In Hammersmith, this means we part as friends.
The time has come, Miss Price, when we cannot in all conscience detain you further with our hospitality. Upon your return to Longbourn, you will collect what is yours and surrender what is not. And you will leave my house.
Are you very angry about my fishy tales?
My dad's an accountant. Much more interesting if he actually was a fishmonger.
Very alike we are, Miss Price. We see the world the same way. We have the same scent. I can smell myself on you.
Why didn't you do something about it? Collins is ghastly. How do you like to go to bed at night and have his hands slithering all over your ass?
Miss Price.
I'm sorry, but... My God, I'm so close to jacking this whole thing in. But you should not have given up. It was badly done, Bingley. Badly done. And now you're running away.
It's not that I am especially weak, Miss Price, but that my friend is strong. He construes truly were others' fault. I am a falterer. I rely on his construction.
Darcy. That's what is so frustrating. You're better than this. I know you are, because I've had you in my head, Fitzwilliam Darcy, since I was 12 years old. So why are you behaving like such a total git? Jane has no money. So what? Bingley's got stacks. What right had you to trash their love because of an accident of birth?
There is no accident in birth.
Do you know why I'm so angry?
You were born thus.
I've been in love with your life for 14 years. Cut my heart out, Darcy. It's your name written on it with Elizabeth's. God Almighty, here you are. One half of the greatest love story ever told. You. And you know what? You don't deserve her.
Is this interview concluded? It is so difficult to tell.
You were such a disappointment, I can hardly bear to look at you.
A deprivation I shall endure as stoically as I can.
You're so relentlessly unpleasant. I just can't get at the real you.
Madam, behold, Fitzwilliam Darcy, I am what I am. If you find yourself unable to get at an alternative version, I'm a stone to being glad. I despise the intrusions of a woman so singularly dedicated to mendacity, disorder, and lewdness. They repel me. You repel me. You are an abomination, madam. Good afternoon to you.
If I dream about him tonight, I shall be really angry. I'm going to dream about him. Well, I hope in my dream you choke. Hateful man! Elizabeth, I tell you this for free. If one of us doesn't get through this door, I'm going to have to do something drastic.
Whatever do you do, sir? Sleeping in the library?
What I do, madam, is collide with folly and conceit whenever I am rash enough to step outside this room. Henceforth, I am minded to remain here.
Are you not happy that Jane is wed to Mr. Collins?
Happy that my kindest, prettiest daughter has embarked upon an adulthood of supplication to such a preening Caliban. Happy, madam, that she should live in subjugation to such an enormity. I would rather sleep in a drain than consent to be happy.
I haven't slept a wink. Lizzie lost at books. No Jane taken to another county.
What Jane's done for Papa, I'd rather die.
Door, pickaxe. A most satisfying juxtaposition. Often wondered who was silly enough to leave this here. Serves no earthly purpose.
Please reassure Mrs. Bennet I'll be out of the house in 10 minutes. I shan't take anything I didn't bring with me.
Don't forget that.
It's not mine. I don't know how to thank you.
Yes, you do. Be reconciled with Jane. Do it soon. Good morning, Mrs. Collins. You may be wondering why I have not called upon you in the night to claim the rapture that is mine, as ordained by the Redeemer. I'm engaged in a period of abstinence for the purpose of purification. But when that period is concluded, oh, Mrs. Collins.
I have a mind to shear off all my hair.
Really?
Anything to alter that expression of sentimental disappointment.
What expression would you have me wear? I love Miss Bennet still.
But she is no longer Miss Bennet. She is now Mrs. Collins.
On your departure, my daughters may seek to engage you in conversation. I would prefer it if they weren't successful. Your parting words of wisdom are treasures my girls can live without.
You really do think I'm some sort of disease, don't you?
soldier's slang. The men use it to applaud a particular species of reckless courage. To my eye, Miss Price, you have spunk. How you hate me. And yet, here you are.
What choice do I have?
Well, precisely. Now, you wish to crawl back into society, and for this, you need me. So, prepare the meagerest of ingredients with confidence and style, and you shall serve a banquet. How much money do you have?
£1.
I have 2. I shall give you one of them. And together, we shall buy you a dress. I smile, yes?
Yes.
The humble fan. For when one is consumed by one emotion but is constrained to exhibit another.
Why are you doing this?
You want instruction in the arts of bearing and tone. Do not touch your nose.
I've got an itch.
Ladies are strangers to the itch. Show me the coquette imperial. You sell me stale eggs at market. Do it again. Better. Show your face. Acquaintances. Consider your very good friends, the de Cereces. The ne plus ultra of Parisian society. Dear Prince Gustav and his charming wife, Marie. Their collection of porcelain is quite unparalleled.
Never heard of these people.
No, they don't exist, of course.
Of course.
But I've always found them commendably useful.
I thought we were supposed to be at war with France.
A war with France is traditional. War with Paris, it's unthinkable. Society does not recognize it. What we shall do with you is have you married to a rich man.
I am the one person around here who is absolutely not going to marry anybody, rich or otherwise. I've buggered up this story, and now I have to unbugger it by rebuilding my friendship with Jane Collins. I'm going to write her a letter.
Clever.
And if you don't like it, you can take your dress and... What?
You should be reconciled with Jane. She shall invite you to her house, which is in the grounds of Rosings, which is owned by Darcy's dismal Aunt Catherine, who is the cloaca through whom all society must pass.
Whoa, 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 whoa. The person I am most utterly not going to marry is Darcy.
I did not suggest it. And yet you thought of it. It's interesting. Go to Jane at once, forget the letter.
That's out of order, Wickham. Unless it's absolutely necessary, I am never going to speak to Darcy again. If I have to, I will be so bum-crushingly correct, he'll faint with boredom and I'll just step right over him, fanning. You have made this house very... comfortable.
The furnishings and decoration are under the personal jurisdiction of Lady Catherine.
Yes, that would explain it. Jane, I don't expect you or Mr. Collins to welcome me. Please accept my apologies and my congratulations, though they are both shamefully overdue. That's it. But if you ever need me, Jane, just say the word. I'll hear you. I'll come.
Dear, you forget to dine with Lady Catherine tonight.
I had forgot. We must hurry.
Your guest is tolerated at the parsonage, but under no circumstances can she be presented at Rosings.
Your husband is quite correct. A person like myself cannot possibly sit at the same table as Lady Catherine de Bourgh.
You must. You cannot leave me to be devoured by Lady Catherine.
But it is... awkward. I am charged with passing Lady Catherine a message from Princess Marie de Cereces of Paris. Dear Marie made me swear I would deliver the greeting personally. But I'm sure it is quite all right if you do it for me, Mr. Collins.
On the contrary, you have been charged, Miss Price, with a most important mission. You must obey your instructions to the letter.
If you say so, sir, I must.
No. This would never have done at all. Before one even addressed the matter of trade, the complexion is too weathered. No, for you, Mr. Collins, the Bennett girl is much more suitable. The dress, however, is acceptable. Ah, Fitzwilliam, there you are.
Aunt?
The usual people are here to dine. This Miss Price also. Anne, come to your mother. At dinner, you shall sit beside Miss Price. It will be a useful exercise for you to make conversation with a person with whom you have nothing in common. Now, let us have music. Who shall play for us?
Miss Price disdains the pianoforte, Lady Catherine, but she has the voice of an angel.
You are acquainted.
Lady Catherine, I forget my duty. I bring the affectionate greetings of the Princess de Cerisay. Dear Marie especially wanted you to know that you are always welcome at the chateau. Dear Marie, as you know, is very dedicated in her friendship. But she never forgets my birthday.
I, on the other hand, forget the whereabouts of the de Cerisay's chateau.
Paris, Mr. Darcy. The right bank. The de Cerisay's house occupies rather a lot of it.
I confess I am none the wiser.
No, sir. But you are better informed.
Fitzwilliam, you recall the lake with its charming crocodiles and the little ducks bobbing about. Dear Marie, your pronunciation is so singular that I did not recognize the name. How are the de Cerisays? How's the prince?
He is very well, Lady Catherine.
It is, as you are perfectly well aware, quite impossible for you to be here.
Painfully aware, sir. Against my better judgment, I've come at the insistence of Mrs. Collins. If you can possibly find a way of persuading her to send me home, I would be most obliged. Don't they make a lovely couple?
It was not my fault Miss Bennet chose to marry Mr. Collins. It was a decision freely made.
Quite.
This is a free society, Miss Price.
Absolutely.
She was not constrained at the point of a dagger to take the imbecile Collins to her bed. Everywhere I behold the squalid prospect of grasping arrivists, harlots and liars, scrabbling over each other in the sewer that is existence outside society.
The prospect is indeed frightful. Mr. Collins says that Lady Catherine's buttresses are the talk of the county.
Buttresses?
Being a woman, I know so little about architecture, of course, but I think they form...
Yes, I know what buttresses are.
First set, Miss Price. New balls, please.
How long does this obtain, Mr. Bennet? This dissension? If Jane's marriage persists in provoking such distemper, I am resolved to take the carriage and visit Mrs. Collins at Rosings Park with Lydia. It will be instructive for her to observe a happy marriage.
If you can contrive to find one of those at Rosings, Mrs. Bennet, I shall prance the length of Lady Catherine's drawing room naked.
Leave the room, Collins. Now, I'm a little astonished to be addressed thus in my own house.
My aunt's house.
Go.
You wish to speak to me, sir?
I am concerned.
I don't understand.
You came to this house knowing you would be brought to Lady Catherine's, knowing I would be there, knowing full well the abysmal disregard in which I hold you. Why, when I am, as you insist, so relentlessly unpleasant to you, do you persist in seeking me out?
But I didn't seek you out. You came to me.
Why?
I don't know.
You must know. I do not, and my lack of comprehension is demented.
Mrs. Collins needs me. Good night. Are you quite sure this is what you mean to do?
He is in love with you.
No, he can't be. That doesn't make sense at all. That's crazy. Darcy, okay? And Elizabeth Bennet of Longbourn, not Darcy and Amanda Price of W6.
Lizzie did not come to my wedding. She has detached herself from the fortunes of this family. It is the thing that she has chosen. You must acknowledge this, Miss Price, in your own choosing. I think you are a good person, and you deserve happiness.
Stilton. Loganberries. Oh, hartshorn jelly.
Oh. And medlars from the orchard, Jane.
Does Papa not want his medlars?
If he did not speak up for them, he only has himself to blame. Indeed, all has been askew since your arrival, and here you are again. And this is for Lady Catherine, Mrs. Hill's spiced cream, set with calf's foot. Will she like it?
You should have told me you were visiting, of course. That is a fault. But I shall overlook it, as I have decided that I like very well this daughter of yours. She is douce. She has a natural gentillesse. Not of the same calibre as Miss Bingley, of course, but that is breeding, a matter in which your daughters are disadvantaged. But that can be surmounted, within reason. You will be relieved to hear that I have plans for them all. Mr. Collins has brothers. They are not all as pleasing in conversation or countenance as he, but they will do very well for your offspring. Quite so. Say not another word. Leave it to me.
Being an enthusiast of Mr. Collins, you would endorse such an arrangement?
I try not to judge people I've never met.
You are a philosopher, Miss Price. I would I could be like you.
Certainly you would benefit from an occupation of some kind. You have no function, Mr. Darcy, no purpose.
Of course not. What a disgusting idea. That is the raison d'etre of society. We must be seen to be unoccupied.
He's just so toxic. How can Jane think I'm the girl for him?
Your ladyship really must demand the festival for the senses that is Miss Price's music.
You think you're the girl for him? Step off, Caroline, you conniving, smirking bumface. Did I say that out loud? It is a card game, Lady Catherine. You might know it as Humpty Dumpty.
Lady Catherine does not trifle with common games of cards.
7?
7 reverses the order.
Not that I necessarily have a 7.
You will not play, Mr. Darcy?
When the unwitting are to be relieved of the burden of their money, I prefer not to be a party.
Mr. Bingley, I can see your hand.
Ah, such an elegant card.
Can you beat it?
I cannot.
That's a guinea for me, Mr. Collins. Who plays now?
Mr. Bingley plays to me.
But he places no bet. Mr. Bingley, sir, look lively. You must bet.
Charles, you're too amusing. That is Papa's hunter. It is eccentric of you to wager an heirloom of pure gold at such a game. It is your inheritance.
Mine. Not yours. I offer you a knave, Miss Price. Shall you better him?
She conquers you with the king, sir, and claims her booty.
A bet is a bet, Miss Price. Take the watch.
I would, Mr. Bingley, with pleasure, had this not been a practice game. The first round is always a practice. I should have made that clear. Sorry, it's a rule. Now, should we play for real?
You've done well today, my dear. You've won your hostess a guinea. You spared the blushes of Mr. Bingley. But you cannot have Fitzwilliam Darcy, Miss Price, however good you are at games.
But I don't want Mr. Darcy.
What you want, my dear, frightens you to death. That is why you fail to comprehend yourself.
Where do you go, Charles? To the devil. To any base stud and serve a man a proper drink! Wickham. To drink with Wickham.
That is ill-advised.
Oh, do you counsel me on this now? With whom I may and may not consort to drink gin. She loves me still. To what unrelenting misery have I condemned her? On your instruction, Damn you. Damn you and damn everyone who won't put a light in his window and stay up all night damning you!
Miss Price. I am decided I was wrong about Charles and Miss Bennet. I should never have obstructed them. It was a shameful cruelty against your blameless friend, and I beg your propitiation for it. Prove to me that I am forgiven. Come to Pemberley. My sister Georgiana has want of company.
Did I dream? You just invited me to Pemberley, Mr. Darcy? I thought I heard you say, come to Pemberley.
I did indeed, madam. I thought it might prove diverting for you and Miss Lydia and Miss Price. That's settled then. Good. Good night.
I never thought I'd be asked to Pemberley.
No, it's pretty unprecedented.
I'll tell you. From Lydia, Mr. Bennet. She writes to say that she and Mama are invited to Pemberley to stay for days.
I shall write to the Prime Minister.
Why do we never go anywhere, Papa, or do anything?
Lydia and your mother are at large in society, my dear. It is enough for society to be getting on with. What news of Jane?
No news of Jane. Mama frets about the inappropriateness of her hat and whether or
It is
not...
too much excitement for me to bear. Thank you, ladies.
Are we there yet?
We are indeed within the park of Pemberley, Hannam, are we not? Lydia, refresh yourself. Here, hold the glass. Oh, Lydia, you wobble so.
I find you reclassifying your beads. The taxonomic principle being colour, spectrum left to right.
This lady who's coming to stay. Are you going to marry her?
And the second principle of order being size. That's an absolutely outrageous question, Georgiana. And I really should chastise you for it.
You wouldn't dare.
You're right, I wouldn't. Nevertheless, my dearest, you indulge me by remaining in here for the moment.
Point your gun at me, Mr. Collins. Neither pointed at Miss Price.
No, I just...
Whither our host, I wonder?
I neither know nor care.
Charles, that is ungracious.
He is a hypocrite.
Be loved.
You must not. You must not.
Wherefore must I not? Who is to judge us?
I've laboured so long in the service of propriety.
Elizabeth. I am not Elizabeth. The entire world will hate me.
Were that true, Amanda, I would fight the world. You are the one I love.
Will you do something for me? I am having a bit of a strange postmodern moment here.
Is that agreeable?
Oh, yes. Yes. Oh, please, stay there. If you touch me again, I will be completely unable to say what I want to say. You love me. Which one of me do you love? The one you first met when I was spiky and vulgar and I argued with you all the time, when you looked at me and felt all that abysmal disregard? Or the one I've been recently, simpering and fanning and trying so hard to fit in? Please tell me you've noticed the difference.
I found both incarnations of your character equally disagreeable. And yet I love you, Amanda Price, with all my heart.
Ignore that, please.
Cannot. But when my duties are discharged, I shall find you, Amanda. For there is more to say. If only the same words over and again.
I love him. I love Fitzwilliam Darcy. I love him. Maybe that's what's meant to happen. I'm like an understudy. The star has failed to turn up, and I have to go on and do the show.
It is the grass. It makes my eyes water.
It's not the grass. It's seeing Jane married to the wrong man.
Well, there's nothing to be done for it. The world is full of miserable, loveless marriages. She will find a way to endure it. Women do.
We are not condemned to endure our lives. We can change them. My life is about to change, Mrs. Bennet. I am in love, and the man I love is in love with me. When I am married to him, I will be able to protect Jane. And I'll be able to help you and Mr. Bennet. I will buy Longbourn for you. Would that not improve things between the two of you just a bit?
Miss Price, this is a quite extraordinary declaration.
These are extraordinary times.
Bingley! Lay down your gun, sir. The breath of your shot was upon my face. How long shall you prolong this pantomime of heartbreak over Jane Collins? Have you no notion how intensely tiresome this maudlin drunkenness has become? Let us say no more of this. I wanted to appraise you of some news. I regret you are obliged to witness this. Your brother...
La, I'm not worried about him. I'm worried about you. I think your Miss Price leads you a merry dance. If I were you, I would seek to know Miss Price a little better before presuming to know her better.
Hey, Lydia! Life is pretty damn brilliant, don't you think?
Life at home is not rich in incident.
You won't always be at home.
The place from which you come is different.
Too right.
Hammersmith.
Don't stress about where you've been, Lydia. Think where you're going. Just don't go anywhere near Wickham. Hello.
Hello. My brother has told me to stay in this room.
Good advice.
Why?
I would have thought because of what happened to you with Wickham.
What you have been told happened to me is not what happened. My nurse conceived a passion for Mr. Wickham. She took me away with her to a place where she could encounter him as though by hazard. For this enterprise, I was the mask. But I had fallen in love with him. Every instant that her back was turned, I offered myself to him. He called me his sweet child, his adorable child, but a child nevertheless, and he refused me. So I went to my brother and I told him that George had ravished me.
Jeepers.
Probity, Elysium, Canaan, and Tinkler.
Tinkler, Mr. Collins?
My youngest brother, madam, his baptismal name is Symbol. 1 Corinthians 13, verse 1. I am become a sounding brass or a tinkling cymbal.
Oh, of course. How very ingenious were your parents in the naming of their children.
Tinkler is 24 years of age. He's quite stout. But Miss Lydia, I'm sure, would have him cavorting about the house like a fawn. It's an excellent match.